All right, good morning, everybody. Got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. I know that's probably waking a few folks up. A little bit of lightning and a little bit of thunder out there. These two severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now for portions of LaFleur, Sebastian, and Logan counties. We're looking at two cells right now capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour straight-line winds with the addition of a little bit of hail within these cells. Those are going to be the two primary concerns that we've got, at least as of right now. Rotation has been next to nothing with these specific cells. Let's hope it stays that way. We'll take a closer look into these, get you set up with an idea of what you can expect and when over the next couple of minutes here. What you're going to notice is these two warning polygons, they're relatively small, so not necessarily a whole lot of folks included in these warnings, but certainly a few are, and that's for the reason for the warnings here this morning. You'll notice as these are generally tracking towards the east-northeast, that's why we've got most of this activity right now occurring south of Interstate 40. We'll notice once we take a closer look into some of these, there is a decent amount of lightning, some thunder out there, of course, being heard as well. Right now, your severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Sebastian and Logan County, that's going to run until 2:45 this morning specifically, which is going to be for a little bit. They're not very fast moving cells, which is going to keep the thunder and the lightning quite loud for a lot of folks there. Mansfield's getting a big strong storm that's tracking over towards Boonville. Poto, also you're on the backside of a strong to severe thunderstorm that's really kind of following the same trajectory as the first cell. So while Mansfield's getting a good soaking thunderstorm right now, you might get a very brief period of time where the rain is not going to be as intense before another storm likely begins to move over that same area over and over. That's where we could start to see a little bit of flooding concerns as well. Upstream, it does look like there is looks like another trying to be a cell in of itself, getting ready to move into the Boonville community. A lot of this is just to the north of Waldron there this morning. You'll notice 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds. Your primary concern, 1 inch in diameter hail. That's about the size of quarters. Let's do this. Let's actually take a look at our hail tracker and get an idea of what the hail is doing. You'll notice it's going to be strongest or largest right now in Mansfield. Mansfield's probably going to get some hail out of this one, certainly on the south side of town there. When we take a look at how big it is, maximum hail size could be $half size. Getting ready to move just south of Mansfield there, $half there. It does get a little bit smaller outside of the core of that cell, but if you're in Mansfield, hail and a little bit of wind, your primary concerns. What it looks like on Street View is looks like Chocoville Road right there. It's going to be Mountain View Road. That's where the heaviest of the most intense precipitation is right now. A lot of heavy rain and probably a little bit of hail passing through the area. Here's downtown Mansfield, so we're looking just right now pretty much right in Mansfield. Huntington's right here. You've got some heavy rain for sure, maybe some small hail mixing in. Looks like the heaviest or the largest of hail just off to your south. Abbott, the next community in line beyond there. Newest scan just coming in live here this morning. Current time's 2:14, almost 2:15, or is it 2:16? Look at my time's all messed up over here. Weakened that hail nonetheless, whether it's 2:15, 2:14, 2:16, I don't know what time it is. The hail's coming down a little bit lower than it was just a few minutes ago. Let's back out and look at that other cell, see what it was doing. It looks like it's also maybe been pulsing down a bit, which could potentially be some good news for us. Hail core is not as large as it was just a few moments ago. And nonetheless, probably a little bit of hail in there. I could certainly see that when you look at just the rain mode alone. When you look there, what you find are those really dark reds, those deep reds. At times you might even find a little bit of purple in there. It's going to be where we have the most intense precipitation, and you can kind of see some of those pockets right there north of 83, Oklahoma 83, just on the outside, east side of Poto. Here's Hartford, here's Midland, here's Dayton, of course here's Mansfield. A good strong thunderstorm moving through the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line. It's going to be this white line right here. It's going to be pretty much running parallel, both of those storms. So heads up, folks, in Midland, Mansfield, and Dayton. You can have another storm kind of following on its heels. There are some scattered showers and thunderstorms elsewhere. In fact, southern LaFleur County, there's another one. It's not severe at the moment. That's the good news for us. Let's make sure it doesn't try to pulse up and become severe. There's what we call an atmospherical boundary draped right through this general vicinity, and because of that, these showers are going to have a little bit better, more favored ingredients to try to pulse up, and that's what we've seen. Once these storms have encountered that boundary, they've grown from showers to actual actual thunderstorms out there, and that's why we do have these warnings that are going to be in effect. You'll notice this one does include portions of Logan County, just a very small sliver of western Logan County. That's going to be there north of Waldron. Primarily, though, the storm is at the moment going to be in southern Sebastian County. It also includes a portion of Scott County, far northern Scott County, just a sliver well on the outside of Waldron. Lightning there in Poto. Let's take a look at it. I've been noticing a little bit of a light show off air in some of our tower cameras that are sitting there in Poto, seeing a little bit of that lightning from Fort Smith. So 33 strikes over the last 10 minutes there, 22 there. Not exactly the most intense lightning. It's maybe come down just a bit. In fact, the Weather Service just now telling me that they've also noticed that, which is a good sign. Let's hope that continues. I'd really love that to continue. I know a lot of folks probably up a little bit early this morning. You would rather not be. Totally get that. Totally get that. Here's a live look in Poto, Eastern Oklahoma Medical Center camera. So that is a decent amount of flashes there as we look off into the distance. I believe this is going to be looking off towards the west, right into that storm. So it's given us a pretty good idea. This storm, while it is obviously still strong with that amount of lightning and what I just showed you on radar, it is now no longer severe. That's going to be the good news for us. In fact, they have canceled that severe thunderstorm warning, but I'm just getting a report from a friend of mine there in southern Sebastian County. That's going to be in Mansfield, getting hammered with hail. Chris Hudson. Chris, thank you so much for that. The first warning for Poto, that's since expired. This one, though, now we're getting some ground truth that there is a good-sized hail core coming out of that. That warning set to expire 2:45, so technically got about 26 more minutes to go. We'll go back into our hail detector and see if it pulsed back up. It doesn't appear that it has at the moment. Sometimes that data can be a little bit delayed, but you can certainly see out of Mansfield, there was that $half hailstone potential right there. Sometimes it can melt a little bit before it actually falls to the surface. Looks like that may be re-intensifying a bit of a hail core just to the north of north of Mansfield here this morning. And that's going to be taking it over towards Barber. Here's, of course, Echo. But I definitely see that potential of some hail there in Mansfield. That's going to be I think the primary, most likely issue for that one specifically. But that doesn't mean there might not be a little bit of winds. In fact, look at the wind detector. Not seeing as much as I expected. So right now, this is primarily a hailstorm moving through Mansfield, southern Sebastian County. Soon we're going to move into a sliver of Scott County, right there along 71, and that will eventually track over into Logan County. I'm going to respond to Chris here and see if he can't give me an estimate of that hail size. Any estimate? I know it's dark outside, probably be tough to see. We'll say here, right here. Here's Mansfield. It's going to be Washburn right here. Boonville's over here. So Boonville would certainly be in line for that specific storm right there. The sell-off towards the west, that was our initial first warning out of Poto. Lightning's coming down, still frequent flashes there. It's no longer severe. That's good. Let's hope this next one can also begin to weaken here real soon. Right now, not showing any signs of it. Got a good piece of evidence that there is some hail coming out of it. In fact, Chris has responded. Nothing bigger than dime I can see. Okay, that's some good news. The potential there was for a little bit heavier or bigger, I should say. And when you look at that hail track, the dark little circle, it's a small one, but that little dark circle there, that's generally representative of $half size hail. What's probably happening, based off of what Chris is telling me, that there's only, did he say dime? I think he said dime size. It may be melting a little bit on its descent. That's helpful, right? Still a lot of hail, but that's helpful. That's going to be right on top of 71 right now, pretty much in northern Scott County, and that's going to continue tracking tracking over into Logan County. You've got some heavy rain already occurring in Logan County, and that's probably going to be the case for the next several minutes or so. Unfortunately, these storms are just a precursor to the big event that's yet to come that's still well off to our west. Let's go ahead and take an area-wide reset. This severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue until 2:45. For southern Sebastian County. Some of these thunderstorms are somewhat scattered in nature. They are strong though. You can see that strong storm in southern Sebastian County. Portions of it is severe thunderstorm warned. Some scattered activity extending well off towards the east, even into central Arkansas. But if you look back off towards the west this morning, McAllister, Tulsa, way off towards OKC, that's the actual complex of storms that is going to be arriving later this morning, perhaps even right during your rush hour. That's going to be the big show when it comes to widespread soaking rain. Things right now out ahead of it somewhat isolated, and that's it's keeping at least a few folks awake this morning, unfortunately, and I apologize for it. I wish I could do something about it. Everyone needs a good night's sleep, and for a lot of folks here in LaFleur, Sebastian, Scott, and Logan counties, that's just not necessarily going to be the case, at least as of right now. Our warning set to expire 2:45. Waiting for word from the Weather Service as to what they think. Personally, what I'm seeing is it's not necessarily weakening or strengthening. I think is somewhat maintaining a consistent strength here, so I don't suspect, unless something changes quickly, that this warning is going to be allowed to expire earlier than it's already set to. That's going to be, again, in about 20 or so more minutes. It will track over into Logan County, so at that point, the Weather Service out of Little Rock will probably be the one that has to issue that warning, a new warning, should they choose to do so. They've got their warning for portions of Logan and Scott. Let's see, is it also 2:45? Yeah, it's also 2:45, so they kind of matched it up right there. Looks like we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning just now popping up. This one's also going to be for Logan County. You'll notice how quickly this little fringe of that line has developed. It almost just pops up within about 10-15 minutes, and it goes from pretty much nothing at all on radar to snap of the fingers, boom, click. We're automatically a severe thunderstorm warning rather quickly out there. So let's do this. Move this over, give us an idea of this specific warning. This one's going to be for Blue Mountain, Havana, Waveland, also for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds. That's going to be tracking up towards the northeast this morning. It does include portions of Yell County also in that warning. That one is going to run until 3 a.m. this morning. Let's go back to a little bit broader perspective. All this activity, everything we're tracking is south of Interstate 40. It is developing somewhat quickly. When you look at it like this, and this is just a 1-hour loop, right? Just a 1-hour loop. I'd even reduce that to about a 30-minute loop, and you're still going to see a very rapid escalation from, you go from not a lot, especially in the eastern fringe over here in portions of Logan County, eastern fringe of the line, and then automatically you're just going straight to a severe thunderstorm warning. That's a pretty quick pulse right there in Logan County. So we've got two warnings that are impacting Logan County. Let's go into the newest one. This newest one is primarily, I think as of this point, going to be driving up the hail potential. You look at that and you certainly can see about quarter-size hail is what Doppler radar is indicating to us right there. That hail right now would be to the east of Tate, crossing the county line, not far from Blue Ball. If you know where Blue Ball is, there along State Highway 80, that hail core is not too far from you there. It is going to be tracking towards Blue Mountain, Havana, there in Yell County, and eventually that storm would move up towards Shoal Creek, that one specifically. Let's do this. That cell is moving at 30 miles per hour, so we'll put a track on that cell for you to give you an idea of what time that one is set to expire, or what time that one would be rolling through your neck of the woods. From the heaviest portions of that cell, that would put it at Quarry Heights at 234, Waveland at 241, Liberty School 257, Midway 305, Shoal Creek 309, Scranton 313, Cane Creek Public Use Area there at 318 this morning. So it gives you just a general idea, a broad idea of when that storm could potentially be tracking your direction, should it not speed up or slow down or even change path. Sometimes that can happen. Right now, we have two severe thunderstorm warnings. Both do include portions of Logan County, although the first one off towards the west is now exiting Sebastian and moving into Scott County, and then eventually going to be in the west side of Boonville, west side of Logan County. Now, this storm right here has produced some hail. I know that. We're getting reports from the ground that it has produced some hail, and then of course we can just see some of that on radar as well. The good news is radar is overestimating what's actually making it to the ground, at least based off of the one report I've received. There could be other reports out there that indicate larger, but at least as of right now, it's not as strong as maybe it potentially could have been. If you look at the track over it, we continue to see this storm produce some hail now moving into Scott County. And then of course, here's your county line with Logan, so it's not going to be in Scott for very long. It's probably getting ready to cross over 71 there before tracking into Logan County. Washburn's probably going to be in the path of that storm. Nonetheless, you're going to get a lot of rain, heavy rain. At times, you might even get a little bit of hail, although it looks like the hail core itself, where you're going to find these darker colors right here. This hill core itself is where you would expect the larger hailstones, where it's a little bit darker. You're not going to expect a whole bunch of hail when it's yellows and oranges or even greens and blues. That's some lighter returns that the radar is picking up. That continues pushing up towards the east pretty quickly, 30, 40 miles per hour. Let's track that one as well. We can put a path on that. Weather Service has it projected to be moving right now at also 30 miles per hour. So let's do this. Let's take some of this off, make it a little bit easier to see. So put that in Barber, 245. There's some other local landmarks that I'm sure you're familiar with. Boonville at 2:58, right around 2:58, 3 a.m. this morning. See about 30 or so more minutes to go. Cawthorn there at 3:06. The airport, the Boonville airport right there at 3:07, just for some general ideas as to when that would be moving your direction. That also, the same disclaimer goes there, but assuming it doesn't change track or speed. Sometimes that can happen. They can speed up and slow down. It's a pretty normal part of their life cycle. Take another area-wide look. Northwest Arkansas is really quiet this morning. There's nothing to be concerned with, at least over the next couple of hours in Northwest Arkansas. There is some activity back towards Tulsa that's tracking your way. It's not severe. Severe threat in Northwest Arkansas is going to be a little bit lower than it is in the River Valley. You'll notice that all of our activity here locally in the 5 News viewing area is south of I-40. There are a couple of severe thunderstorms off towards the west over here near McAllister, but those are a ways away. They very well could track our direction and produce a little bit of severe weather before it's all said and done. But right now, they're of no concern to us. Let's do this. I want to pull up maybe the Ozark camera. It's pointed south. You can also look at the ACHE camera in Fort Smith. Yeah, okay, there we go. So we're looking back off towards, I believe I left this, yeah, it's gonna be towards the southwest. So we're kind of looking closer into one of those cells that's moving near Mansfield. Of course, we're a ways away, but just given the light show that's off in the distance, you can see pretty clearly that a lot of lightning out there. So a lot of folks that are in the path of the storm or even around it, this lightning is producing thunder, and that's waking them up. That's certainly going to be waking a lot of folks up here this morning. And if that's you, happy you found us here. If you looked for us on Facebook, there's an issue that's beyond our control here locally. I raised my voice, tried to get it fixed. I'm going to raise it again here the next couple of days. Well, today, next couple of hours, I should say. So I hope you found us here anyways. Apologize that we're not where we're typically at. We are on YouTube Live. We're here on 5news.com. 5newsonline.com, and of course our free mobile app, and on 5 Plus. So we're in as many places as we can be out there right now. Unfortunately, Facebook's just not one of them at the moment. At least I don't think so, unless something got fixed over the last couple of minutes. A live look into that storm. It's a pretty strong one. It is severe thunderstorm warning. Hail and some high winds are the reason the warning has been issued, but I really think from what I'm seeing, this is primarily a hailstorm, at least as of this moment. Could produce certainly some gusty winds at some point, but right now it is just going to be hail that I'm seeing out of it. I do want to spin a camera This one right here, we're looking live from South Fort Smith. This is the ACHE camera, ACHE, Arkansas Colleges for Health Education. Let's see if I can't turn this around. I did see a little bit of lightning there, but I think, bear with me, don't get motion sickness on me. I think if I spin this kind of this direction, might be able to see a little bit more into that cell. Yep, there it is. Oh, focus. Come on, fella. Yeah, it's thinking about it. Yeah, they'll figure it out. Nonetheless, you can see a good amount of lightning right there as well. This one might be the other Fort Smith. This might be Rogers Avenue. Not going to see a lot looking off towards the west from that direction, unfortunately. Okay. We're going to come back here to live Doppler radar. I got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. Right now, both of them are in the River Valley, south of I-40. One includes portions of Sebastian County and Logan, and then the other one includes just Logan in our area. So 2 different storms producing some potential for severe weather in Logan County this morning. Hail's the primary concern. Wind certainly could pulse up at some point. Getting a question, what about Alma, Arkansas? There's nothing going on in Alma right now. Very well could be later this morning. Here's Waveland right here. Let's see, Danville's right here. That storm's continuing to push off towards the east. This cell that did produce the second Logan County warning, interestingly enough, when I look at it, it looks to me to be more moving east more than north. I still think it may clip Logan County, but right now it's kind of back building towards the east, which is an interesting feature, which may be some good news for our friends in Logan County. We'll take this off. Boonville, you got heavy rain, some thunderstorms in the area. Right now you're between 2 different severe thunderstorm warnings. So what's happening in Boonville right now, while it may be moderate to heavy, it's not severe. But what is coming your direction still is severe. A hail-producing thunderstorm in Mansfield's getting ready, or is right now really crossing over into Scott County. Obviously, here's the county line between Sebastian, Scott. Now we're back in Logan. We're talking about that really small sliver right there. These storms will push into western Logan County, and we'll be tracking towards the Boonville area. Let's go back into LaFleur County. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning there, but for the most part, that storm has entirely moved out of LaFleur County. There's still some heavy rain falling near Poto this morning. South of Pensacola, and there is some lightning and thunder, so you're probably hearing it, but it's really the bulk of it's pushed off towards the east. Heavers are going to be seeing some light rain showers out there this morning. All of this is far south of Interstate 40. If you live in Fort Smith this morning, good morning to you. Salisaw as well. Here's Alma. I had a question there. We looked from Ozark south into those storms. Clarksville, we're also pretty quiet out there. These are moving. I'll loop this so you can have a better idea. Off towards the east-northeast. Not to say there might not be something that tries to clip you, but a lot of this, let me just do the last hour, is kind of slowly kind of pushing towards the east-northeast. So I think maybe the further east you go, the better odds you're going to have out of getting rain from this specific cell, or these are multiple cells, but from these specific parts of the event. The main shows off towards the west. We all get rain out of that later this morning. We all get some thunder out of that later this morning. Could be some pockets of severe weather mixed in there at times, but for the most part here, what's happening is going to be Greenwood, Mansfield, Hartford, Boonville now, and again, this cell that's moving kind of more so into Yell County. I'm hoping that continues pushing off towards the east. That would be some really good news for us. Unfortunately, that warning, though, for the time being, continues for portions of Logan County. It is a strong cell. We've not checked in on hail on that one in a second, and it continues to grow, so let's do that. Put the hail now. Yeah, it's still got some. The other good news that I'm seeing here, it does look like maybe the Mansfield-Washburn cell doesn't have as strong of hail as it once did. I keep saying strong. I don't know why I'm saying that. The size, as large of hail as it once did. There's still a little pocket there. The report we got was dime size from my friend Chris Hudson. Went to college with him. Good morning to you, Chris. Thanks for that report. And then the second cell, it still has a pretty decent hail size there. That's probably quarters coming up towards Blue Mountain. May stay just to the south of Blue Mountain there, but quarters is a real possibility. Let's come in tighter on it. We'll pause it. It's going to be at Sugar Grove, Blue Mountain, Waveland. When we ask the radar, how strong do you think that is? How large you think that is? That's coming back as quarter. So yeah, okay. It's a strong thunderstorm south of Blue Mountain. It may skirt Blue Mountain is the interesting thing. That really almost looks to be moving more east than north. The Weather Service progged that as northeast, and the others are moving a bit more northeast, but when you loop that over just the last hour, it to me would appear more easterly, which is going to take the bulk of that cell into Yell County. And Yell County is not technically our viewing area. If you're with us this morning from Yell County, good morning. Looks like you got a storm coming your way. It is severe thunderstorm warned for Havana. Waveland is also included in that. Let's see here. And of course, there's Blue Mountain right there. When it comes to watches, I believe it's just Fort County under a severe thunderstorm watch that runs until 7 o'clock this morning. But this is one of those good examples that doesn't take a watch to get a severe thunderstorm warning. Sometimes you can skip right over it, and that's what's happening in Sebastian and Logan counties here this morning. Interestingly, it looks like the Weather Service might be considering allowing the Sebastian County cell to potentially fall out of that warning. I want to look at something else here real quick. Looks like they might be replacing that warning with what we refer to as a special weather statement. Or is that going to be for a different one? No, it looks like it's going to be for a different one. Unfortunately, that looks like that's going to be for the Hartford Greenwood cell. It's moving a little bit more towards the north and east. Okay, I thought I had some good news, but I don't. And it just looks like there's another cell going to be moving up towards Greenwood here this morning. I'll take this off right here. Fort Chaffee, Lavaca, Charleston, inevitably that cell will be moving up your direction. Do want to look into the rotation there. None. Nothing to be concerned with. Wasn't expecting it, but it's important to check on these every once in a while. When it comes to hail, looks like there's a little pocket of some increasing hail potential right now. It's going to be at Hackett. Yeah, I knew that was going to be the case. Radar thinks that's probably going to be about penny-size hail with that specific cell right there. That's going to take it towards Excelsior, into Greenwood, maybe eventually upstream into Lavaca if it's able to hold on to its strength. I'm not sure it will be able to do that, but it is growing in a sense that makes me think it probably will. You just look at that 1 hour radar loop, and yet again we have another example of going from not a lot happening at all to, wow, all of a sudden these things have just popped off and continue to grow. And that's what we're looking at out there here for us this morning. In Mansfield, things are still really intense for us. In Washburn, you've got another strong thunderstorm coming through. Dayton, Mansfield, also included in this severe thunderstorm warning. Right now for 1 inch in diameter hailstones, could be seeing some 60 or so mile per hour winds out of this specific cell. Over in Logan County, let's go back towards the east. This cell is almost entirely moved out of Logan into Yell, but it very well could come back again across that county line once more near Highway 309 outside of Havana. So we'll have to watch that closely over the next few minutes. I want to do this. I want to go back to, let's see, which camera do I want? Let me think about it. I'm thinking I want one of the Fort Smith cameras. Yes, I think actually I want that ACHE camera. I left it pointed in a direction that you could still see. Okay, it's out of focus, but I think we're still going to be able to see some lightning. Let me see if I can clean that picture up for you. Yeah, a lot of lightning there, as expected. Let's do this. Okay, there we go. Clean that up. Moving it back off towards the east there. Just, oh, man. Okay, well, it's just trying to autofocus, and this is dark out there. Not going to do well for us at the moment, unfortunately. You can see a lot of lightning. I don't guess you really need to be in focus to see that. So I'll just move right on along. Okay, yeah, there's a big flash right there. Let's go look at Ozark. We're kind of looking back towards those Logan County cells. Oh, good shot. Beautiful shot right there. Let me also move that one down to due south. Current time right here is right at 2:41 this morning. You're watching this live on our apps, our website, YouTube, 5+. Happy to be here for you this morning. If Mother Nature's waking you up a little bit early, apologize for that. Wish we could have done something about it. We do have a couple of severe thunderstorms that are now moving through right now, just the river valley. These are lifting towards the east, so northeast, east-northeast, and those are going to potentially move up down that I-40 corridor between Fort Smith and Clarksville. We'll have to watch to see if this doesn't fill in. It looks like it very well could try to do such, which would bring some more showers and more thunderstorms back towards Fort Smith, Alma, eventually into parts of Mulberry. If that were to fill in, there's a bit of a gap here. It looks like it's trying to fill in though, which isn't anything really unexpected. A lot of the radar models really indicated as such. Most of the afternoon and evening, and oftentimes when the models, when they don't agree, you're like, yeah, well, okay, I don't know. But they were in really good agreement most of the day that this line would happen out ahead of the main event, and that's what's happening out there this morning. So for once, those models handled that really well. Let's see. Got some reports of some hail in Midland. That was pea size, which is close to the dime size report that we got. So that's lining up there really well for us. Let me go back over here. Let's zoom on in. What's the hail doing in Greenwood? Okay, it's not come up any. That's good news. The storm structure overall looks quite impressive there. So I'm kind of surprised that hail hasn't come up. If you're in Greenwood, between, let's say, Greenwood and Pensacola, as the bird flies, right there along 253, the new Jenny Lane community, not far from Excelsior, I think there might be a little pocket of hail here. That's going to be Bear Hollow Road. West Denver Street in Greenwood. Here's 71. Yeah, right through 71 is where I would expect maybe a small pocket of hail. Right now it would be pretty small. Probably some big old fat raindrops for sure. Maybe a small pocket of hail. We're really close into the radar site there, only a couple of miles at most from the radar, if even that. So the data can get a little bit tricky out there when that's the case. Here's Hackett right here. You're going to have another shower move in your direction. It's just a shower moving through Cameron. That's going to cross the state line, move your direction given the next 5 to 10, 15 minutes. Greenwood, Dayton, Mansfield continues to be seeing some high precipitation. We're talking heavy rain, hail mixing in at times, a little bit of lightning, a little bit of thunder. Looks like there's more lightning in this other cell over here that's now in Yell County that, to me, I just don't know if it's going to really move back into Logan County. Yeah, I guess the 15-minute loop alone, you see the warning polygon. You can often discern the direction that the Weather Service believes that it's moving based off of just the cone alone. You can kind of see it tracks more towards the northeast, but this track to me is pushing a little bit more easterly. It's still within the warning polygon. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the polygon itself, but I think in this specific instance, I'm not sure we can really take a lot away from the polygon shape and the direction it fans out with regards to actually the path of it. It, to me, is taking a more easterly track. Decent amount of lightning and thunder in that cell right there. It's now in Yell County, so not our coverage area, but if you're with us this morning, I'll see if I can't do my best to keep you abreast with what's going on there with that cell. Over the last 10 minutes, it's had 125 lightning strikes, and that's a lot, especially if you're trying to sleep out there this morning. That's enough that you're hearing a lot of thunder, and unfortunately, if you are awake with this morning, you have a little bit more tracking your direction. These showers and thunderstorms now extend even into Oklahoma. That's where a lot of them originated. Lightning there continues near Pensacola. That's going to be tracking towards Greenwood. Lightning now coming back up in Mansfield with that cell moving through the area. Boonville not seeing or hearing a lot of lightning thunder right now, but that cell is going to be approaching you, getting a little bit closer. I think certainly is going to provide a little bit of a light show for many of us. And rain now extending south towards Waldron. Nothing severe, just a few spotty showers out there. This is it for right now, for the next hour or two with regards to placement. So if you're in Northwest Arkansas, you're quiet. Things are really quiet, in fact, but we're not expecting a lot of activity there for a few more hours. Once that main line gets here, main bulk of precipitation, that'll be a little bit different story. But in the meantime, this is what we're looking at right now. Mansfield, that lightning's come up there. Let me do this. Let's see how much lightning strikes are happening in Mansfield. And the reason I want to know that is I'd like to come back and check it again in 5 or so minutes and see if it's come up or come down. Right now, we've got 92 over the last 10 minutes. Let's give it some time and see what the trajectory of that is. That second warning has expired, though. So that warning that included Sebastian, portions of Scott, western Logan County, that it was allowed to expire at 2:45. So that warning has fallen off the map, but I'll tell you, it's obviously still a strong thunderstorm. We might be just below that severe weather threshold, and that's why the Weather Service opted to do what they were going to do. This warning in Logan County continues. It's really not going to impact Logan County. I have increasing confidence that the core of that cell, which is right here where I'm circling, which is probably going to be just near Waveland, is going to be pushing up towards the east, and that's outside of our viewing area, so we're not going to cover that too much in depth. I'm not necessarily going to end the stream just yet, because I think this cell here that's now moving in the south side of Fort Smith up into Greenwood is going to pulse up. I think I'm seeing some organization. I'm seeing a bit more in the way of a stronger thunderstorm there. It is lifting towards the northeast. So I'd like to just stay here on the stream for a little bit longer until I have some confidence that that's going to weaken or not. I'm not necessarily sure it's going to. Right now, it's going to be south side of Fort Smith, let's say north side of Hackett, getting ready to move into the Barling and Lavaca community. That's where you would expect some heavier downpours, some lightning, some thunder. If there is any hail, it's right along 71 right now. We are on top of the Doppler radar site. In fact, technically speaking, you call this the cone of silence. So it's a funny term that was popularized by the OG twister back in the day, but you can kind of see right on top of the radar site, you just can't see above it. You see that little cone right there? If that rain were to continue, and it will, on top of the radar dome, you'll see almost a perfect circle, just because the radar, it can see around itself, but it can't see above itself. So we're kind of right in that general vicinity. You probably know where that Doppler radar site is if you drive through this area anytime at all. We're in South Fort Smith. We're just south of the airport, Central City to my back right there along 22. That's kind of where that cell looks to be kind of intensifying a little bit. It certainly had a history of doing that over the last few minutes. Interestingly, way off to our west, not only do we have this severe thunderstorm warning near McAllister, it's also got another flood warning with it. Now, that's an area that didn't necessarily see a lot of rain over the last few days. Most of the heavy rain that we've heard about that took some lives in Oklahoma was north of I-40. This, though, is south of I-40. That's an area that didn't see as much, and we're already starting to see that flood concern materialize. So I hope that's not an omen as to what we could expect here locally, but it certainly could be. I'm going to go back to our camera here in Fort Smith. Let's do this one. Must be the same ACHE camera. I'm just kind of curious what we're going to be seeing. Yeah, and the camera's not doing a good job focusing. You don't have to worry about it. You can just look out there and you can see, yeah, it's near constant lightning. At least it was. Looks like maybe we're taking a bit of a break. I'm going to spin this around a little more. The storm is moving, so I got to keep the camera moving with it. As you push off towards the east a little further. There we go. I'm sure there's a way I can turn off the autofocus, and I just don't know how to do it. This technology is too much for me. You're looking live out there from Fort Smith. This is south side of town at the AIC campus, ACHE, Arkansas Colleges for Health Education. They let us put a little camera on top of their building. We appreciate them for doing that. It helps great for moments like this where we're looking out there into those storms, trying to get an idea of what's going on. And with that much lightning, I know it's loud there in Fort Smith. I know it's loud in Greenwood. It's probably loud in Hackett and Barling and Lavaca. Right now, that cell is not severe, though. That cell is strong. I believe there's some heavy rains and probably some gusty winds, but it's not severe. Okay, you can actually see the radar site right here now. There it is. And that's going to be moving towards Central City, Barling, anywhere there along 22, and that lifts off towards the east-northeast. It's not severe, but it is covering up a good chunk of Sebastian County there. Isaiah Simmons letting me know there's pea-sized hail in Boonville. Isaiah, good morning to you. Good morning to everybody in Boonville. I know the word hail is something you just would prefer not to have to deal with, given everything y'all have had over the last couple of weeks. Let's go back into Boonville. Pea size is below severe weather thresholds. That's why you're not currently under a warning. Strong cell, though, and we've seen a few reports at this morning, as of thus far this morning, of some pea to dime size hail. That came out of the Mansfield community, had another one near Midland. Now we're getting a pea size report out of Boonville right now. Not severe. It'd have to be 1 inch in diameter to get a warning to be considered severe. But there it is. It's confirming what Isaiah is showing me. If we take a closer look into that, I'm going to ask the radar, hey dude, what do you think about the size of this hail? It thinks penny size there, but I would bet if I were to ask it to do the same thing up here, it's going to say, yeah, really light, less than a quarter, so non-severe. But I think the key takeaway is we're looking at penny to pea size, and that would be pretty common for that Boonville cell, at least as of right now. The track of that hail core is far lower or far less intense than it has been. You'll notice at times you got these big old pockets of blue here. At one point south of Mansfield, the radar really thought that there could be half-dollar size hail, quarter minimally. Some of that seemingly melting before it got to the surface based off the reports that we've received thus far. And then that cell also begins to move into Boonville. Not severe at this moment. We'll see if that changes. Had another hail-producing storm that did track into portions of Logan County, but that now has really since moved into Yell County, and I'm not quite sure it's actually going to produce much of anything in Logan County, at least as of right now. Let's see. That's a new special weather statement. Let me see. Passing along some of your reports to the Weather Service. If you see me tapping off screen, that's what I'm doing. I'm not updating my MySpace, I promise. This one morning for Logan, which the storm is almost entirely moved out of, would lead me to believe that probably you're going to cancel at least portions of that warning. It goes until 3 a.m., so we got 4 more minutes to go. I suspect that is going to be what happens. We'll see. I suspect what we're also going to do is at 3 a.m. Here in just a few minutes, when that warning is going to expire, we will, I'm going to mute our mics, and you'll still be able to see the radar here, but we're probably not going to track just rain showers. We're going to go sit down and grab a cup of coffee, watch radar, do some analysis, do some forecasting. Joshua Weisel's in this morning. Well, I guess my point of saying all that is we're not going to end the stream here necessarily, because I suspect we're gonna have to fire another one up here in the next few minutes. So we'll hang out with you right here for the next few. Once that warning falls off, assuming that it does, I mean, Weather Service out of Little Rock may issue a new one. Wouldn't surprise me. But if they let everything expire and we're warning free and there's no severe weather, we'll leave the stream live. You're just not going to see me. You're not going to see Joshua. You're not going to hear us until something pulses back up. And in which that case, you know where to find us because you've already found us here this morning. So that's kind of our game plan for the next few minutes. We'll leave radar live right there. We'll go back into that cell while we're tracking it a little bit longer. Just trying to get an idea of what it's doing. I mean, right now, it looks to be producing penny-sized hail, and the bulk of that cell is in Yell County. So I have a hard time believing the Weather Service would issue a warning for Logan for that specific cell. Now, could one of these others pulse up? Yeah, that's a real possibility, and they might have to issue a warning for that. Okay, got a new one over here. It's not a warning, but it is that cell we were looking at moving through Sebastian County, South Fort Smith, Fort Chaffee, Greenwood. This specific, it's not a warning, I should say. It's what's called a special weather statement, which is one step below a warning. It just says, hey, you've got a strong storm, 40-mile-per-hour winds. You could see some penny-sized hail out of that. And that's this cell that we've been kind of talking about a little bit that has been moving over the radar site right there between Barling, Greenwood, Lavaca, Central City, right there along 22. That's where that cell is at the moment. It is lifting towards the northeast, so Lavaca is going to get in on that cell. Charleston may get in on some of it, I think. It moves up towards Crawford County, crossing the Arkansas River there. Let me loop it for 1 hour, and you can kind of see that trajectory. Depending on how much it back builds into Fort Smith, and obviously you can see it's trying to, right there on the Doppler radar site, it may skirt portions of Alma. I don't know if the bulk of it gets there, at least as it's right now, but it may try to skirt Alma right there. Let's go back over here. What's the Weather Service thinking on that one? SPS, that also includes southern Franklin County. Is that a new one, I think? Yes, it's a new one there as well. And it's going to be for the same thing, 40-mile-per-hour wind, penny-sized hail. And it's really the same cell. It's just kind of a broader cell. This general vicinity right here, you can see it lifting into Franklin. Some of that's going to be pushing into Crawford. Sebastian's certainly going to be in it there for us this morning. And that's going to be a special weather statement until 3:30, which just means not severe. We're not meeting the threshold for severe weather, but we want you to know we are watching it. It is a strong storm, and it could pulse up and become severe at any moment. So right now, that is not the case for us. It is currently right there at 3 o'clock. We have no warnings in our viewing area. I know you can see this one, but that's Yell County. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this brief moment while we got it, because I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of these brief moments this morning, to do a little bit of quick forecasting. Joshua and I are going to get things ready for the morning show. And so we're going to leave the stream live right here. If something changes, we'll be right back. And by changes, I mean if we get another warning. We're about 10 feet away. We'll unmute our mics and we'll be here for you in those moments. Stay put. Hopefully you don't see us this morning. Hopefully you can just look at radar and there's no warnings on it. But if there are, we'll be right back.
All right, and good morning, everyone. I'm weather forecaster Joshua Weisel. Thank you for staying tuned to this quick live update. And, we were taking a quick little break, doing some forecasting, just because our show's coming up next here at 4:30. So just a quick heads up, we are going to wrap this up once we get to about 4:30, but we're coming to you live just because a couple of these have kind of repulsed back up. And the one that we're talking about is in Johnson County. So if you're in Johnson County and you're experiencing hail right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings, but they have gone ahead and issued a special weather statement. So we'll zoom in on that here real quick just to give you a quick update. Again, no severe thunderstorm warnings, but because it's so early in the morning, people are starting to get their day started, and it could be a rude awakening to some with the lightning and even some hail activity. We're going to go ahead and, excuse me, just get this go ahead and started. And we'll see what exactly is happening with this. So again, not severe right now, but we are going to go ahead and go to the hail core tracker. And we'll show you just what we're talking about here in terms of that hail. And as that loads in. And this one is going to be a little bit tricky. So while this is showing that larger hail, we've seen this morning where we start to get up into that $half size range. This may end up getting warned here pretty soon because that hail is starting to get on the larger side. The one thing that we've been talking about is we've had these hailstorms all morning. The warning will be for one thing, and what has ended up happening is you get these handfuls of small hail that are not quite the size of what the radar is estimating, just because there is a melting factor, meaning that we're warm enough that as this hail starts to fall, it starts to melt when it gets closer to the ground, and then it melts once it makes contact. But this one's a little bit more concerning for me just because we are starting to get into that larger hail type. So glad we're coming on with this early just because we may catch this before the warning is issued. No word from the Weather Service just yet on what they want to do with that. I'm going to go ahead and just recheck. The National Weather Service out of Little Rock covers Johnson County. So again, no updates there, but we are seeing a little bit larger hail, and we'll be watching that one very closely. So again, just to the north and west of Clarksville, north of 40 is where that larger hail core would be located there. And let's go ahead and do a zoom in on that just to get some of those other communities that are located in this area. And right now, it is just sandwiched between Woodland and Edna, and it's basically right in between County Road. I think that's 3390 and Highway 103. So basically, if you're in this general vicinity here, maybe some pockets of some hail anywhere between penny, maybe even quarter-sized at this point. Radar's wanting to go a little bit larger, closer to that $half size right now, but keep in mind we do have a melting factor at play. But just to say the least, a little bit larger hail falling here, right here in portions of western Johnson County this morning. This is just to the west of Woodland, and it is right near Highway 103. So again, this is in Johnson County this morning. We're watching this. There's no warning right now, but we want to go ahead and just give you the early heads up. We're catching this before it potentially strengthens to severe limits. Not to overhype this, but we've seen this all morning. We'll get a hailstorm. It quickly pulses up, and then it starts to just go away. And then it basically weakens, and then we don't have to deal with it for a while, and then another one will pulse up. This one's pulsed up pretty good, so we'll get an update here in just a second with the radar, but that's pretty decent hail that we need to be aware of. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out, and we'll do a little bit of a track on that. I'll look at the storm motion with this, see if it's northeast like it was earlier, and that hail core has maintained a pretty good strength, and there it is. It's continuing. I believe these were moving at around 30 earlier, so I'm going to just go ahead and estimate that. And we'll go ahead and do a northeasterly track here for the rest of Johnson County. So this is just a quick heads up. Again, it's not severe now, but just because it's not severe now doesn't mean it won't be here in just a little bit. Again, we're going to wrap this up once we get closer to 4:30. We'll have the latest in the show, but we're coming to you live this morning just to show you, this is not warned now, but we are seeing some larger hail with it, and it could eventually get warned if the Weather Service decides to issue a warning for that based off of radar indications. I don't think it's actually making it to the ground at $half, just because all morning we've seen these storms that they get issued for that, and then the surface reports are right around penny to quarters at times. So I think we may be approaching quarters though. So Harmony Presbyterian Church right around 418, Ferris Springs right around 434, Garber 444, and then Walnut around 457. There's other communities there as well, but just the broad estimation going by kind of just some broad time spans there. This will eventually make its way out of our area here in just a little bit, but right now still watching that very closely. Let's go back to the other radar tools. And good morning. I know it's been a kind of a wild morning for most, and I'm going to zoom that out with the hail core tracker here. Instead of the main radar, just for one reason, I want to show you what we've got going on. Further to the west, notice there's a couple other cores that are starting to get closer to Sequoia County and LaFleur County. We'll be watching those. They're not as intense or as impressive as that one that we have in Johnson County. But again, we are going to be watching that as it continues to move off towards the east. Otherwise, you can see there's really no issues there in terms of northwest Arkansas. So if you're watching for northwest Arkansas, excuse me, good morning. We're not necessarily talking severe weather risk that is widespread for northwest Arkansas. The main activity so far this morning has been in the River Valley, and we've also been, didn't mean to click on that. Here we go. Main activity mostly is in the River Valley this morning. So again, the worst activity, even though we don't have any warnings right now, is this one in Clarksville. Now, I did see a second ago when I moved this over, that hail core came down just a little bit. We may have caught that right when it was at its peak, so it wouldn't surprise me, and that's why we're here. We're giving you that early heads up to let you know, hey, this is a hail producer, and we know that you're starting your morning this morning. We want to give you that early heads up that this is creating some problems potentially. So, again, that was a brief spike in that hail core. We'll continue to watch it, but right now, no warnings for our area. The only thing that we have technically is this flash flood warning that doesn't include portions of Sequoia County, very far southwest and western Sequoia County. That's because we've had repeated rounds of heavy rain this morning that's not moving very fast. The moral of the story is, look at what's to the west. If you were tuned in here earlier when Chief Meteorologist Skot Covert was here tracking those storms that were in the River Valley, there really wasn't a whole lot of activity to the west. Now that bulk of the activity starting to move to the east, so what we're going to be seeing is this is going to impact your morning commute. Whether or not it's severe, it's kind of it's kind of questionable right now. Again, we could see some stronger storms, maybe mainly with a hail and a wind risk, certainly a lot of lightning as well. So some of these are going to be on the stronger side, but the main risk that I'm concerned about is the heavy rainfall for the morning commute. Prepare yourself ahead before you get on the roads this morning. There could be some wet roads, especially as we get closer to that 6 o'clock hour. Just be mindful, every time we get any heavy rain, there's always drivers that drive a little bit too fast. And when they're driving a little bit too fast, that creates issues. They start to hydroplane. We see accidents across the area. Because we have this rainfall moving in this morning, just take it easy. Make sure that if it's raining or if the roads are wet, just take it easy, take it slow, and make sure that you allow for some extra time. This is your early heads up, so you know, if you have to be there at a specific time or anything, or you're in a rush, probably leave a little bit earlier, just because the rain, when it moves in, want to make sure that you're safe on the roads. Not necessarily talking a significant flood risk or anything, but this is just one of those heavy rainfall events where we want you to be prepared. You know, there could be some wet roads, hydroplaning potential, so allow for some extra time. So we'll be tracking that. We have a look at your traffic forecast, or your traffic update. We have a look at your forecast coming up here in just a little bit. But that's my biggest concern with this activity to the west is that, you know, morning commuters in northwest Arkansas, that heavy rainfall, it may be reduced visibility at times with the heaviest pockets. And then there's also that potential for some hydroplaning with water on the roadways. So that's the main concern for this morning. Additionally, a couple storms can't be ruled out with some hail and wind, but overall, severe weather threat is actually pretty low. In fact, the main risk basically kind of cuts northwest Arkansas and the River Valley in half, where the River Valley has a little bit greater potential. Still can't rule out a couple of storms with some hail and wind in northwest Arkansas, but based off the Storm Prediction Center, and I'll go ahead and share that here real quick as well. And there it is. The risk, generally speaking, is pretty low for today in northwest Arkansas. It's not zero, but relatively speaking, it's just a general thunderstorm risk there. The marginal 1 out of 5 is mostly for the river valley. So again, it's one of those things, we can't rule it out, but we want to make sure that we're just letting you know. Severe weather is typically the more flashy of the two potentials. We say heavy rainfall. It's not as alarming or eye-opening as severe weather. While there is that low-end severe weather risk today, again, we just want to let you know the morning commute, it could be rough just because there's going to be heavy rainfall. There may be some ponding on roads. There may be some heavy rain that leads to, reduced visibility while you're driving in the rain. And there's also that potential for some hydroplaning. So we have these risks. We'll let you know the very latest. And, okay, that's just outside of our area. So we're going to do a broad scope here because we're going to start the show here in just a couple minutes and need some time. We got to move this out of the way and we got to get the show fully ready. I worked on it behind the scenes, but just got to prepare a couple more things. Wanted to come on here and just let you know about that potential for that hail that was in Johnson County. I'll check on that here real quick while I'm thinking about it here. We'll zoom in on that here. And that hail core, I tell you what, it came down pretty significantly. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw some quarters that briefly fell with that. But notice the hail potential right now, right around penny sized, just to the northwest of Clarksville, to the southeast of Batson this morning. So we'll be watching these throughout the morning. If anything changes, of course, we'll let you know during the shows. We're about to get into the morning shows here at 4:30, so make sure you tune into Channel 5 this morning on your local TV networks. Also, you can be watching us here on 5+. We'll let you know the very latest. Stream's going to go ahead and end at 4:30. No warnings this morning. I just want to stress that real quick. We don't have any sort of warnings. I'll zoom out here one more time and let you know. But yeah, we don't have any sort of severe thunderstorm warnings. We do have one flash flood warning, and that's for portions of Sequoyah County. Again, that's one of my concerns this morning is that we've seen all this rainfall. I do think that as this moves off to the east, there could be some flash flooding potential for the river valley just with these heavier bands, even in the portions of northwest Arkansas. So again, before you head out the door this morning, keep in mind, we do have our shows coming up. We're going to have looks at the traffic. We're going to have a full forecast here as well. We're also going to be letting you know if any warnings are issued or anything like that. The shows are going to continue throughout the morning. We'll let you know the very latest there. So while we're not on with a severe weather coverage live stream like what we've got going on now, it doesn't mean that we're not looking at it behind the scenes. We'll have the full details and we'll let you know the very latest throughout the shows this morning. So I encourage you to tune into those. Also download the 5 News mobile app. We'll let you know the very latest and any sort of updates. You can even receive alerts there as well. But the bullet points for this morning. There is a low-end severe weather potential. Damaging winds, large hail are going to be the primary concern. The other thing that we're talking about is the heavy rainfall. Take it easy, allow for extra time. You may want to head out earlier this morning before you get to where you're going, just to allow for that extra time, just because, traffic, heavy rainfall, some of those things, it may not be a pleasant commute throughout the morning just because there could be some reduced visibility with heavy rainfall at times. There's also that potential for hydroplaning. So make sure that you're not taking it too fast this morning. Take it slow and easy. You'll get to where you're going. Make sure you get there safely. That's a look at what we've got there. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, tracking these behind the scenes, we'll let you know the very latest. So tune into the morning shows. Hopefully you have a great morning this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we're glad you're here with us here this morning on 5+. And we're also glad that you're here this morning to tune in to the 4:30 shows here coming up in just about 5 minutes. So we'll let you know the very latest. And thank you for tuning in. Stick around.